joints 关节 articulation articulation 3 types 3种关节 synovial joints synovial joints synovial joints 滑膜关节 cartilaginous joints cartilaginous joints cartilaginous joints 软骨关节 fibrous joints fibrous joints fibrous joints 纤维关节 synovial joints 包括 joint capsule joint capsule joint capsule 关节囊 joint cavity joint cavity joint cavity 关节腔 synovial membrane synovial membrane synovial membrane 滑膜 synovial fluid synovial fluid 滑液 bursa 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 囊 ball and socket joints ball and socket joints ball and socket joints 球窝关节 pivot joint pivot joint pivot joint 环枢关节 saddle joint saddle joint 鞍状关节 cartilaginous joints 软骨关节 synchondrosis 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 软骨结合关节 hyaline cartilage hyaline cartilage hyaline cartilage 透明软骨 example growth plates growth plates 生长板 symphysis 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 软骨联合关节 example pubic symphysis pubic symphysis 耻骨联合 intervertebral discs intervertebral discs intervertebral discs 椎间盘 fibrous joints 纤维关节 joined by thick fibrous tissues fibrous tissues 纤维组织 example sutures of the skull 头骨的骨缝 the frontal or coronal suture the frontal suture or the coronal suture the frontal suture or coronal suture 冠状缝 the sagittal suture the sagittal suture the sagittal suture 矢状缝 the lambdoid suture the lambdoid suture the lambdoid suture 人字缝 The squamous suture. The squamous suture. The squamous suture. 鳞缝。Types of joints. Synarthrosis. Synarthrosis. Immovable joint. Immovable joint. Immovable joint. 不动关节。Example, sutures in the skull. 颅骨的骨缝。Amphiarthrosis. Amphiarthrosis. Amphiarthrosis. 微动关节。Slightly movable joint. Slightly movable joint. Example, the pubic symphysis. Intervertebral discs. Diarthrosis. 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 Movable joint. 活动关节。Example, shoulder joint. Knee joint. Movements of joints. Flexion. 屈。Forward flexion. Forward flexion. 前屈。Left lateral flexion. Left lateral flexion. 左侧屈。Right lateral flexion. Right lateral flexion. 右侧屈。Extension. Extension. 伸。Abduction. Abduction. Abduction. 外展。Adduction. Adduction. Adduction. 内收。Supination. Supination. 旋后。Pronation. Pronation. Pronation. 旋前。Dorsiflexion. Dorsiflexion. Dorsiflexion. 背伸。Plantar flexion. Plantar flexion. Plantar flexion. 直屈。Rotation. Rotation. Rotation. 旋转。Circumduction. Circumduction. Circumduction. 环转。